What's up YouTube, it's Adrian from MMOSWORLD, and our top 5 this week focuses on Guild Wars 2. With a brand new expansion out next month, we are exploring how Guild Wars 2 stands out from the saturated MMO crowd and why it's still a relevant and beloved MMO today since its launch 5 years ago. So let's take a look at 5 key ways how Guild Wars 2 are standing out from the rest. At number 5 is equal footing in PvP. Most MMOs don't take the risk of omitting gear effectiveness from their PvP. Players that grind gear for months and even years would obviously like to use it in competitive modes to get an advantage. And why shouldn't they? It's their hard work. In Guild Wars 2, however, everyone is balanced and skilled equally, so it's down to skill and understanding of the profession, aka class, that one plays rather than who's got the best equipment. By doing this, PvP becomes a lot more inclusive without entry barriers. That means a lot more people who wouldn't normally participate in PvP will check it out and get a fair chance in structured PvP, which is why the PvP is pretty popular. At number 4 is removing grinds. And one of the best things Guild Wars 2 does very well is making sure that players don't feel that burn that we've all felt from playing other MMORPGs. There are no compulsory gear treadmills and gear grinds. You only craft or get what you want. Take legendary weapons and ascended gear for example. They are a long-term progression that undeniably makes your stats better for endgame content, but not by a significant amount from the previous tier. So it's more of an achievement thing really, and players who don't do endgame content won't need it to get through difficult PvE boss fights. Some players will like not having a gear grind, while others may want it if they feel like they're not accomplishing anything. But what that does for the game is it makes catching up to newer content much easier. Have you ever left an MMO for years only to come back and feel like there's no way you can get caught up to enjoy the new content? Well, that never really happens in Guild Wars 2 because there's no grinding needed that blocks you off from future content. At number 3 is the living game world. Guild Wars 2 is not a sandbox and falls under the theme park MMO category. But the game world does stand out remarkably well because of the scripted dynamic events that happens throughout the various maps interior. The events can vary from a small-scale invasion to a large multi-tiered map meta that leads to slaying a huge world boss for great rewards. What's awesome is that it never really feels scripted even though it is, and it's a spectacle when it happens thanks to player participation, especially during primetime hours. It's the amount of events, in addition to how the world is so interactable through exploration and activities, that makes it feel very alive, and that's above and beyond most MMOs that have very static worlds that don't respond to the consequences of a player's actions on the landscape. And number 2 is social focus. And because the world is in some ways organic, the player base responds in turn by organizing its community to tackle these events and meta progressions as often as possible. The result is a very active community that's helpful, with mentors and commanders leading packs of players through zones to tackle content that arises. It feels very friendly and all-inclusive even to new players and returning players. The social focus is very strong, and developers ArenaNet plays a part in that too, with a lot of the interaction outside of the game going through live streams and other ways to info drop. What they do, which other developers don't, is give back to the community that stood by them and promote them. They are only one of a few MMOs in the market right now that actually have an affiliate partner program to help Guild Wars 2 content creators grow. It's a nice touch, especially acknowledging those players that have for many years carried the Guild Wars 2 torch. And at number 1, it's functionality over form. What really keeps players invested in Guild Wars 2 is a combination of things from systems to mechanics and the gameplay itself. But a common theme found in all of them is just how functional they really are. Let's take guilds for example. Guild Wars 2 doesn't just add a guild system because it's a compulsory MMO feature that groups players together. The game adds layers of functionality to benefit players. In Guild Wars 2, you're not just joining a guild for the sake of joining a guild. There's benefits such as guild-wide buffs and boons, and a guild hall to decorate and participate in guild missions and activities. It doesn't just stop at guilds, however. A lot of Guild Wars 2 systems have that extra layer of functionality that many other MMOs just ignore, either because of age or made in a time when things were way simpler back then. And there you have it. Those are 5 ways how Guild Wars 2 stands out from the MMO crowd. If you'd like to point out more, leave a comment in the comment section below. like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more MMO videos. As ever, I'm Adrian from MMOSWORLD, signing out.